This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so today we're going to be building upon what we've learned in the last two classes. So in the previous class, we talked about states. So in this class, we're going to build upon the knowledge of states and upon the knowledge of React components. Yeah. So I hope you guys did the assignment, the last one I gave in the last class. If you encountered any problems, I'd like to know about them and see how we can resolve them. All right. So basically, like I already said, states is information you care about in your application. Yeah, is any information any data rather you expect to change. So states could be like the count you keep. States could be the color of a particular button. It could be anything, any piece of data that is likely to change or that you care about. Yeah. So we explored how to create states. So states basically lives as an object within your component, as we can see here. So within the constructor of this class, we have this state, defining the state for this component, and then within the state we have count set to 0, and we have task, which is an empty string. And then we talked about event handlers, and like I already said, basically everything that goes on in your browser is an event. Each time you move your mouse, each time you type a key, each time you use your keyboard, basically while you're on the browser or on a particular input form, that's an event. And basically the way you would want to typically you want to react to those events. So a user clicks on a button, you want to perform some action in reaction to that event, or some user types on a form, you probably want to capture that input, and in order to capture that input, you need to be listening for that event. So typically events occur on HTML elements. So a button click occurs on a button. Typing on an input form occurs on an input form, obviously. Hovering your mouse, you can hover your mouse over an input element, over a div, over a button, basically. So the examples we did in the last class where we captured events happening on a button. So the event we captured was a click event. So each time that button was clicked, we captured the events, and then we incremented our state counter. So each time the button was clicked, we just incremented our states by 1. And then the second instance we took was, sorry, let me start up. Right. So the second example we took was capturing the events on an input form, like you can see here. So each time we type something, we wanted to capture that input that the user is typing, save it in our state, and then render it below. So we achieved that by basically doing this. Yeah. So each time you change events occurs on this input form, we capture that event, we listen for that event, yeah, by adding a listener called on change, and then we pass in an event handler, and that event handler is called this.handle change. It belongs in the class. And then basically we set state here, and then we encountered the problem where when we try to use this directly, it kept on saying this is undefined. And the reason why this is undefined is because he didn't know what the this context was, so we had to bind this within the constructor. So we did that, we binded this, and yeah, basically once you bind it, once we bind it, everything was working. This was a symbol at the end of your input tag. Sorry, do you mean this? This is the closing tag. This is like I already said, input, something like this. Instead of doing input in React, you just do something like this. So it's like a forward slash and in this, like the way you close HTML elements. Yeah. So typically, if you want to, like how this p tag here, if you want to close the p tag, you do p, then forward slash p. Yeah. But because input doesn't have any children, you're not putting anything inside it. So basically in React, when an element doesn't have anything inside it, it just closes itself. So the way like line break, the BR tag, the HTML BR tag, it closes itself. Yeah. So it looks like this because there's nothing inside. It doesn't take anything. But p tags, hrun tags, divs, they usually take elements inside them. So that's why they're self-closing. So this is just a self-closing tag, forward slash, then the greater than sign. All right. So basically, we first bind this, and then once we bind this, we can then call the event handler, and then kind of put our state normally. So that way, it knows what this means when we say this to set state, this to set state. Yeah. So today we're going to build upon that knowledge of the previous class, and we're going to implement a to-do list. Yeah. So basically, the to-do list is a list of stuff you want to do. So basically, the basic functionality our to-do list should provide us. Sorry, hello?
Hello,
Yeah,
Judy.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. So,
Yeah.
the class for today is a review class. So, just in
Okay,
case maybe, yeah. So, just in case maybe you are not able to complete the to-do list app, is not a problem. The
okay.
major like concern is the students that
Review.
have questions, yeah, that they answer their, yeah, that they get to ask their questions and get answers. So, if you are able to
Okay,
complete the app, there's no pressure on that one. But for the
okay,
because I think some of them they have some things they don't understand. But I don't know why they're not asking questions because somebody asked me a question yesterday about when you should use React.create element and
yeah,
when you should use GSX. So I sent
yeah,
him a chat documentation on why people prefer GSX over React.create
yeah,
app, but that there's no difference.
yeah.
It's basically the same. So for anybody who has questions, just go ahead and ask. Don't be
Okay,
too yeah. So I mean the app creation process will continue fine. But if you have any
okay.
questions at all, just ask so that Judy can answer. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. If you have any questions, please kindly ask. And then when we're done with questions, and if there's enough time, we can proceed with the other stuff. So please, I'm open to answer your question.
No, you can go ahead. You can go ahead and continue the when they ask questions. They will either ask in the chat or they would indicate by
Okay,
they will mute themselves and speak. So it's fine.
okay. All right, no
Yeah,
problem,
just
no
go
problem.
ahead.
All right, all right. So okay, like you already said, if you have any questions, just feel free to chime in while I continue.
Exactly.
All right. So basically the to-do application should allow you add to-dos and basically delete to-dos. Yeah. So typically when you're building a real life app, the most basic functionality you provide your users is called the CRUD functionality. Yeah. And CRUD basically means C means create, and R means read, and U means update, and E means delete. Yeah. Oh, is this something? Sorry, let me. All right. So basically, CRUD is like it's not a new thing to learn or anything. It's just sorry, this is meant to be a D, but it's just a short term for saying some basic functionalities. If you notice, most of the websites or web apps or apps you've interacted with, they allow you create something, they allow you read something, they allow you update something, they allow you delete something. For example, Facebook allows you create a post. You can read other people's posts. You can also read your own post. You can update a post. You can edit it, or you can delete it. So basically, CRUD is like the most basic set of. At its core, it encapsulates all of the functionality you most likely provide to your users in your app or in your applications. Oh, you missed it like the last 5 minutes. Okay. So I've not really said okay. All right. So I've not really said I just did an overview of the last class, but I'll still go back to that. In case all right, no problem. So I'll go over previous stuff. All right. Okay. So like I already said, our last class we handled states. Yeah. So state is any piece of data you care about in your application. Yeah. It's any piece of data that you think will change. Yeah. For example, you there's a button on your website. Yeah. Each time that button gets clicked, you want to increment the number of times the button has been clicked. So the first time I click on that button, the count increases to one. The second time the count increases to two. So in that instance, you're going to store the state of how many times that button has been clicked within your app. Yeah. So basically that's where state comes in. State stores data that's likely to change in your application. Yeah. So we did how to create state basically. So to create state typically, there are two ways, but the way we would use for now, which is like the simplest way, I would say, is not the simplest, but the way that will cause less friction. Yeah, we just create a constructor inside the class. Yeah, and then it receives props, and then we call super with those props. And I already went over why you need to call super with those props. The reason why you need to call super with the props is that you need to let the base class, which is React or components, know about the props. Yeah. So the parents class here is React or components. Yeah, and basically you're making React or components aware of the props. So you're saying super, which refers to the parents class along with the props. Yeah. And then here we're saying this dot state is equals to count zero and task is equals to this. Yeah. So at this point we've created our state. This is the default state. And the default state says count is zero and task is empty. Yeah. So in the sample application we built the last class, we had a button and then we're showing how many times that button has been clicked. Yeah. So typically, each time the button gets clicked, you want to increment a counter by one. Yeah. And in order for you to do that, you need to capture that event. And like I already said, events are things that happen on your web page. Yeah. Everything that happens in your browser is an event. Each time you move your mouse, each time you type something, it's an event. And events occur on HTML elements. Yeah. So in order to capture the events on the elements, we use event handlers. And an event handlers can okay. All right. So event handlers can capture a range of events. You can capture the click events, you can capture the change events, you can capture the hover events. But for the button, the events we care about is the is the click event. Yeah. So we have an on click um event handler here, and we're saying on click this dot handle click. Yeah. This dot handle click refers to this method within our class here. Yeah, and basically what we're doing within the click event handler is we're just setting states to be this dot state dot count, which refers to the previous count plus one. So basically the first time this happens, this dot state dot count is already zero, like we already said, plus one, which is one here. The second time it happens, it's going to be one plus one, which is two. So each time we're just incrementing, we're just adding one each time the button gets clicked. Yeah. And the reason why we're doing this is because I already said in React, you don't mutate your states directly, meaning you don't update it directly. What you do is you use this those set states and then you just update it. So here we're not updating this those state or count directly. We're doing plus one, which will return two, and then we're assigning it to the count property. Yeah. And then the first time we try to run this won't work because handle click does not know what this refers to. Yeah. And now in order for this to work, we have to bind it here. Yeah. And then there's something I also forgot to mention in last class. You might be wondering, okay, if handle click doesn't know what this refers to, how come render here, the render method knows what this refers to? And the reason why it's like that is because render is it's a component that it's a method that React or component knows about. Yeah. He already knows about render. He expects your components to have a render method, yeah. So he already knows that render belongs to a component. And then within your React code, this is defined. This refers to your actual component. Yeah. But here, this handle change here, it doesn't know what it refers to, it doesn't know what the component is. Yeah. So you have to bind it over here. Um so yeah, basically event handler. So this is your event handler. And then each time, sorry, this is for click. So each time the button gets clicked, we're just incrementing state by one. And then we did the same thing. So someone is chatting. All right, sorry. Online 6, what will happen if we do count is online 16? What will happen if we do count is equals to zero? Oh, so if we do count is equal, nothing happens. We just so if I set count to zero, so each time you click on the button, by setting states count is equals to zero. Nothing happens. Nothing happens because we're just reassigning it to zero. Yeah. So when you set, if you just come here and we say count is equals to zero, nothing happens. Each time we click the button, count will be set to zero. If, for example, we say count should be set to 5, the first time we click the button, count should be set to 5. Subsequently, the more we click it, it will still be set to 5. Yeah, because I just set it. I mean, this does state the count is equal to 0. Okay. All right, let's try it. React to throw an error that you're not meant to reassign states directly. So, like here now, do not try ESLint. So ESLint is used to ensure that you don't make React mistakes. Yeah, it comes with my VS Code setup. Yeah. So it says do not mutate state directly, use set state. Yeah. So if I save and I come here, I open my console, I see, and I click the button. Yeah. The reason why the first time I click it, to set it to 1. Yeah. The reason why it's set to 1 is I come here, I set it to 0. Yeah. And I increment it by 1. So at this point, the first time it's going to be set to 1. The second time I come, I set it to 0 and I increment it by 1. So it's just the same thing over and over again. Hello? Hello? Okay. I don't know if there's someone on the call. So yeah, basically, it tells you do not mutate state directly. Use it. Yeah, so you're not meant to mutate it directly. You're not meant to reassign it yourself. If you want to update something within your state, you use this to set state, and you pass in an object, and one of the properties in that object should be what you want to update. So you pass in an object, I want to update count by 1. Yeah. So the first time this button is clicked, when we set it to 0, it will first set it to 1. Subsequently, it just keeps on being 1. Hello?
Hello. Yeah, this is Roy.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Can
Hello,
you hear
can you
you?
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What I was trying to say, because me, I was trying to create another button. You know,
Yeah.
after you do the first button, you click, I'll be counting. I was trying, so I created another button that will clear the count. You know, want to click the other button 10 times.
Yeah.
The second one will do clear. I will do that.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
So I did. So I just copied the same line, then so I now set that count as equal to 0. So, but I was getting the error that you cannot mutate
State directly. Yes.
still.
Yes.
So I'm not
Yes.
sure why.
Okay. That's a nice. The initiative to do that was quite nice. So let's try and implement that together, and then I'll show you like the reason why you are probably getting that error. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say now this is how our application was the first time. Yeah. So we can increment and increment here. So let's say we want to add a reset button. Yeah. A button that once we click it, it resets it. It sets it to 0. Yeah. So we'll create another button. We'll call it reset. Yeah. And then you add an event handler, like I already said. So you say on click is equals to this dot reset count. Yeah. So we just create a method called reset count. Yeah. Now the reason why we're creating a separate method is because these are handle click and count are two different so we want for this particular button, we want that once it is clicked, we want to reset our account. Yeah. So we say reset count, it takes in an event, but we don't even need the event at this point. Now what we want to do here is we want to reset the count to 0. Yeah. So we say this was set state. We're still setting the state, even though you're resetting the state. You don't come and you don't do this dot state dot count dot 0. This is wrong. Yeah. Now the reason why it's wrong is because you're setting it directly. You're resetting it directly. Yeah. This reset directly. Yeah. As opposed to here. But basically, when you do this, you're telling React to handle these updates. Yeah. The final state, what these two things here, they reach the final state is going to be the same. At the end of both of them, this dot state dot count is going to be 0. But the difference between the two is that here you're doing it directly, and here you're basically telling React to handle it. Yeah. Now the reason why React will not allow you set it directly is because React does certain performance optimizations in the background. Yeah. If I call this.state.count 5 times immediately, React will batch those 5 calls together and it will do it at once because of performance optimization. So basically, it's best to allow React to update states for you. So you use this.set state. Yeah. So now because we've created a method called reset count, when we try to run it, it won't work because it's not yet binded. So we bind it here and we say this dot reset count is equal to this. The reset count will bind this. Yeah. Come back and we click this. Sorry. Okay, sorry. We click this. I think my browser is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So we click this 17 times. And once we click reset, it sets it back to 0. Yeah. So basically, the difference between, I'm guessing what you were doing before was we're setting this.state.count equals to 0, but the correct way to do that is to set count to 0 by using set states. Yeah, so that way you're allowing React to handle that reset for you. You're not doing it directly. You're basically telling React, all right, this is what I want counts to be. You're declaring what you want. So React at its core, if you read the React documentation on the homepage, it says React is declarative. Now, by declarative, they mean that you declare what you want, and then React handles that. Yeah. So you declare that you want count to be 0, and then basically React sets your state to be that. Yeah. So I want reset to be here. Yeah. All right. So all right. Okay, so what else? So I want comments. Let me remove this part for people that are just joining.
Hello, who is the person Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear
Hello?
you. Yeah, hello.
Whose background? Do you know whose mic is on that?
I think it's Sandra Enubuzo. Enubuzo.
I saw these guys mute their mic. I don't know. Anyway, just go ahead.
So I click this and I click the button. So Temita just asks what time we click reset here, he wants to clear whatever is inside here. All right. So now basically what you want to do is each time you click reset, you want to set task to be empty. Yeah. So what we're just going to do is inside our reset count, we just come here instead of setting counts to be 0, or if for some reason we want to reset the both of them at the same time, we can just say task should be empty, so an empty string. Yeah, and then we save. So now let's increment our states to, let's say, 10, and we type the button has been clicked 10 times. Yeah, when we click reset, both of them disappear. Sorry, let me set. All right, so the reason why this is still going to be here is, like I already said, input elements, they have values. Yeah, and basically inside our handle change, we're doing events.target.value. Yeah, and we're setting it to the value. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to set the value of the input elements. Value is going to be equal to this the state the task. Yeah. So now what this means here is that this input element shares the same value as our task here. Yeah. So now the first time when you type something here, we're quickly converting task. Yeah. So we save and then we increment to 10 and then we set. Yeah. We increment to 2, we say I just typed, and then we click reset and everything goes away. Yeah. So let me go back to that again. Yeah. So like I already said, each time you type something on a form, it's an event. Yeah. And then it meets an event, and then we have an event handler called change. Yeah. So handle change is called this, or handle change, which is called event handler. And then basically we get that event. And we're basically saying event.target, which refers to the input elements, which is this. So I'm saying event.target.value, which is the value of the form when the events, value of the input elements when the events occurred. We're getting that value and we're setting our task to that value. So the first time you type there, I saw clear data. You saw what clear data were? You saw clear data. All right, so we said that. Now the first time we did this, we didn't have this line there. Yeah. So the first time we didn't have this line here, and then when you come here and you click this prevent defaults. Sorry. All right, so basically, the first time we did this, when you save it and we come, a few times, and then we do, let's say hello. When we reset, this sets it like what we're doing here. What we're saying is we're setting counts to 0 and we're setting task to 0. Yeah, counts becomes 0. The task below here, but here still remains here. You can still see what we typed. Now, the reason why we can still see what we typed is because the input element, the value is not bound to our state. The value depends on whatever you type in. Yeah. Now, in order for us to be able to actually clear that value, you have to say value here for this input element is equals to this dot state dot task. So now, whenever we update this dot state dot task, what is inside there is going to be updated. Now, to illustrate that, we come here. Let's say for some reason we set our task by default to be. Sorry, can you guys still hear me? Okay, I think my network is back. All right. So let's say for some reason we set our task to be by default to be I am an input element. When we save it and come to our page, we see this here. Yeah. Now the reason why we see something here is because we've already set the value of this input element to be this. All right. So anyway, yeah. So I already setting this by default to be this. Yeah. Basically, that's why when you come to the page the first time, it's going to be I am an input element. Now, the reason why it's that is because we already set our task to be I am an input element by default, and then here we're setting the value to be this dot state dot task. Yeah. So whenever any updates we make on our state dot task, it's will be made on the elements. Yeah. And then when we reset, it clears everything. Yeah. Sorry, let me answer that. Um, all right. So basically, yeah. So all right, let's move forward to the to-do list example for today. All right. So like I already said, some when you're building real world applications for your users, um, the set of basic functionalities which you provide to them are called CRUD, and C stands for create, R stands for read, U stands for update, and D stands for delete. And you find over time that most of the applications you build, they keep on coming back to someone creating something, that person being able to read that thing, then being able to update it and being able to delete it. And a to do list or a to do app is the best way to wrap your head around that idea, around those concepts. Yeah. So our to do list for today, we'll be able to create to dos. Yeah. We should be able to delete those to dos. Yeah. Updating the to dos, we might cover that later. That's not for the scope of this lesson, but you should be able to. We will be able to um, achieve three of those functionalities. So create, read, and delete. Yeah. So let us start. All right. So I'll create a new component called to do. The class is being recorded. I can see a recording sign on my end. So all right. So let's create the new component. The component is called to do. Yeah. To do.js. All right. So like we already said, we import React from React, and then we have a class to do extend React component. Yeah. And then we have a constructor. Yeah. And the constructor receives props. Now prop stands for properties. Yeah. And then we call super. So basically we're telling React the component about our props. I'm saying props. Yeah. And then we have our render method. Yeah. And our returning JSX. So return let's just say patron my to-do list. Yeah. Now we have our state. So let's put our state. So we say this the state equals an object. Yeah. And what we care about in our state or our to-do list is our to-dos. Yeah. Our to-dos is an array of to-dos. Yeah. So typically a to-do will look something like this. All right. So typically a to-do will be an object that looks like this. So it should have like a ID. Yeah. And it should have a name. Yeah. So the name of the to-do. So the to-do can have an ID of 001, and the name can be hello or learn React. Yeah, sorry. ID can be one, and then the name can be learn React, something like this. Yeah. So we come here. So by default, we don't have any to dos. Yeah. So we have my to do list. Now when I save this, I have to export the to do. Sorry, just give me a second. compulsory. So, sorry, I just sent the. So no, it's not compulsory to use props as a variable name. We'll change it to. Sorry. All right, so I can come here and name these properties. It can be named anything here, and our code is still be fine. The reason why it's the conventional thing to do in React here, because React refers to it as props. Yeah, you can see how long properties is like 10 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 10 characters as opposed to typing props. And then within React's actual code, React actually refers to these things here as props. So it's usually idiomatic. Idiomatic meaning that it's the conventional thing to do. It's what most people that write React do. So it's the conventional thing to do to name it props. Yeah. So, but let's make it props. Yeah. But it can be anything you want it to be. But it's easier to make it props so that the next person that looks at your code knows that okay, this refers to props. Yeah. So yeah, we have our to-do list, my to-do list. Yeah. So I export it. So I do export default to do. Yeah. Additionally, we can also export this component on the same line that we declared. So instead of coming down here to do that, we can come here and say export default class to instead of coming all the way down here to create a new line. So export defaults, and what are we exporting by default? A class called to do, which extends React components. Yeah. So we save, and then inside our index.js, we import it. Import to do from to do. Yeah. And so we remove our state component and then we render to do. So we uncomment this one. Let me remove that. All right. So we save. All right, we save and then we come to our browser. So my Windows for 2 minutes. All right, so we see my to-do list. Yeah. Now this is just really my to-do list. We actually need to show our users like a way they can actually type stuff and then see what they type appear. Yeah. So now for them to type stuff, we need to have an input element. Yeah. So like I already said in JSX, when you have multiple elements, you need to have a parent element. So we're going to be having multiple elements. So I have a parent element called just a div, and then I have my to-do list like we already had before. So we have an input element. Input. The type is text. Yeah. The name is to do input. Yeah. The value is, so let me put to do text. Let's make it to do text. Yeah. So the value here is to do text. So by default, to do text is empty. So the value of this input, so this is the input we're going to use to capture our user's input. The value is going to be this plus state to do text by default. And then the placeholder is going to be, sure, I can't see this part of my screen. Yeah. All right, so the placeholder is going to be, okay. Placeholder is going to be enter a new to do. Enter a new, yeah. So we save and we come back and we see enter a new to do. Yeah. So we'll see an error here. We provided the value prop to a form field without an unchanged handler. Blah blah blah. So this means that we don't have a handler yet, even though we're specifying the value. Yeah. Now to fix that, we come and add a handler. So a handler is event handler basically. So what we say is change, which is every time we type something inside this input, we want to update our to do. So we say this dot update to do text. Yeah, this just in a previous project we call this handle change. It can be named anything, but here I'm naming it this update to the text. But we've not created that method, so we come here and create the method called update to do text. Yeah. Now because it's an event handler, it will take in an event. Yeah. All right. So let's just log that event to make sure we're getting the event. All right. So every time we type, we get events. Yeah. Now remember, if we try to access this here, we get an error. So we don't want React to tell us that error. So let's just come and bind it. So we say this dot update to do text is equals to this dot update to do text. We'll bind this. All right. So we say, and then what do we want to do when this when someone wants to update, when someone types, wants to set this to do text to reflect our need to do. Yeah. So we say this the set state, yeah, to do text is equals to this dot event dot target value. Yeah. So when we do this, our to do text state will be saved to whatever we type in. Yeah. So we save. Now to guarantee that we're actually getting that, let's just render the to do text beneath the user state dot to do text. Yeah. So now whenever we type this, we should see our whatever we're typing here outside. This is nothing different from what we just did in the previous class. So let's remove that. So now you want to have a button here that says add new to do. Yeah. So we create a button. So we say add new to do. Yeah. So basically what we want that button to do is, let's see, when we type something, let's say learn React. When we type learn React and we click add to do, we want it to appear below here. And we want to clear this input. Yeah, so each time you add a new to do, it's to clear what you've typed here and then to create a new so add which you see it come out. Yeah. Now in order to do that, we do add an event handler on this button called onClick for so we want to capture the click event. Yeah. So you say onClick is equals to this dot add new to do. Yeah. So this add new to do is an event handler. Yeah. And we just create a new method called add new to do events. But in this instance, we don't really want to use the events. So you can choose to not pass in the events argument, I mean parameter. It depends on you. But just for the sake of class, I'll add it. Yeah. Now what we want to do here is each time this button gets clicked, add a new item to this array. Yeah. Yeah. And like I already said, it to do looks something like our to-dos will look something like an object with an ID. Yeah. And then with an ID and a name. Yeah. Now, IDs for our to-do should be unique. So no two to-do should have the same ID. Yeah. And now, in order for those IDs to be unique, it will be very stressful for us to be saying, if you're the second to-do, your ID should be 3, your ID should be 4. That's going to be stressful. Yeah. So we need some way to generate unique IDs for our to-dos. Yeah. Now, in order to do that, in order to do that, we will use a package called, sorry, I think my laptop battery is low, so let me check. Just give me a second. All right, hello. Okay, sorry, I had to unplug my laptop. All right, so we need a way to generates automatic unique IDs for our to-dos so that no two to-dos have the same ID. Yeah. Now, in order to do that, we use a package called UUID. Yeah. So UUID generates unique identifiers. Yeah. So we'll create the package. We install the package rather. So now to install the package, we do npm install UUID. Yeah, so this might take some time, depending on how fast your network is or how fast mine is actually. Alright, so I think I'm guessing I'll just use Yarn. So Yarn is like an alternative to npm. This is what I rather use. I use most of the time. So I don't think I have internet actually. My internet is slow. Sorry, can you guys, if you can hear me, please say yes, because I think my internet is preventing me from. Okay. So it's probably an issue with my Yarn. Error not found. Registry. Alright. Alright, so just give me a second. Let me translate this out. Okay. Alright, hello. Sorry, I was having issues with npm and Yarn for some reason. I don't know, which I'll look into later. I don't know. It was telling me my network was bad, which I doubt. I think I was having issues finding the npm registry. But anyway, the command to install UUID, which we'll be using for automatically generating unique IDs, is npm install UUID. Or if you're using Yarn, you can use Yarn add UUID. Yeah. So I think the first time I ran it, it worked because I seem to have it here. So yeah. All right, so I'll import UUID from UUID. Yeah. So when I import it, I can use it. So let's see what UUID outputs. Yeah. So let's do console.log UUID. Yeah. So let's see what it does. Yeah, so when we check our console, we see a unique, like this is a random string. When we reload it, we see another random string. So UUID basically just generates unique IDs. It guarantees that every time you call it, it will generate a unique ID for you. Yeah. So every time we call this, we get a unique ID. Every time we reload, we get a unique ID. So let me try and show you on the yeah. All right. So reload. You see this. You can see here is different from here. So it's a unique identification number. Yeah. All right. So we already have that. So now we can guarantee that when we create our to-do, each of them is going to have a unique identification number. So in our add new to-do handler, we just say we create a new object called const new to-do. Yeah. And const new to-do is going to be equals to in the ID is going to be UUID. So we call the function. Yeah. So we get a new ID, and then the name is going to be this dot state dot to do text. Yeah. And then when we do this, we just have a new to do. We've not added it to our list of to dos. Yeah. All right. So generate the new ID, and then we set our name to this dot state dot to do text. Yeah. So we have our new to do. All right. So now at this point, we need to add it to this array of to dos in our state. Now, like I already said, you don't directly update your state. Yeah. So now, in order to append something to an array, typically you do array dot push. But when you do array dot push, you're directly manipulating that array, you're mutating the array. Now, in order to add an item to an array without mutating it, we use something called concat. So concat basically concatenates something to the end of an array. So concatenating means joining two things together. Yeah. So I just saying this is our array. We want to add something to it and return a new array. So concat will return a new array. Yeah. So we create a variable called const new array. I mean new to dos. Yeah. Or let's say new to do list. Yeah. If that helps, new to do list is equals to this. Yeah. Dot state. This is state dot to do text dot concat. Yeah. So now concat, if you can read what comes up by my text editor, it says returns a string that contains this applies to strings. But either way, this is the state dot to do text dot concat. Yeah. And then what do we want to concat? We want to concat our need to do. Yeah. So we're saying need to do. Yeah. Argument of type I is equals to blah blah blah. Blah, blah. All right, so this is a VS Code blah 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 error. But either way, when we log this, so let's log our new to-do list, so you can see what's happened. Yeah. So we come here, we type. Okay. So we come here, we type. So let me see if I binded this to our class. All right. So at this point, we've not bound or binded add new to do to our class. Yeah. So now to bind it to our class, we just come here and say this add new to do is equals to this dot add new to do dot bind this. Yeah. So we come here and we say hello and click add new to do. You see hello object object. So the reason why I say object object is because we're trying to render an object out to the text. Oh, sorry, my bad. Actually, is this meant to be to-dos? My bad. So to-dos is refers to our array here. I was doing to-do text. All right. So I think this is the state of to-dos, which refers to our array of to-dos over here, the concat, and combines to more array. So yeah, we're just combining this object with our to-dos. Yeah. So we save, and then come here, we type hello, and then we click this button. We see an array which has what we just typed hello. Yeah. And we say let's type welcome, and we add new to-do. Yeah, you see this. Now the reason why it is creating any object is because we're saying this does state the concat new to do. We're not yet setting our states, our to-do states to include this new to do here. Yeah. So now let's actually set our state to include that new to do, to set it so we can save it. Yeah. So what we do here is we say this the set states. Yeah. We want to set our to-dos to be this new to-do list. New to-do list. Yeah. And then what we want to do is, like I already said, each time we add a new to do, we want to clear the text here. So we want to remove everything that is there. So this the state of to do's is equals to our new to do list. Yeah. And then we're set to do text, sorry, to be empty. Yeah. So let's log our new to do list after we've done this. So you see what I'm talking about. All right. So we type hello. Yeah, we see an array of objects of just an array with one object. Length is 1. Yeah, we type by. As you can see, every time we type this, the text here clears. So we come here, we see an array of 2 objects. It says hello and bye. Yeah, and we type welcome again. You see an array with 3 objects: hello, bye, and welcome. Yeah. All right. So when we save, let's save our this thing. So now we have our to-dos. We can add to-dos to it. So basically, what I'm just doing here is on change. When this thing changes, we're updating our to-do text. I'm just setting to-do text to be the target value, yeah, which is the value of the input element at that time. And then every time we click our button, all right, and every time we click our button, we want to add a new to-do. Yeah. So what that means is that we're just saying we're creating a new to-do object. Yeah, and basically each to-do object should have a unique ID, which refers to this UID. So we're calling this function to generate a new ID for this to-do, and then the name is set to the to-do text, and the to-do text is equal to whatever we type in. Yeah, and then after we've done this here, we just have a new to-do object. We've not added it to our state. Now, in order to add it to our state, we have to get our previous to-dos array and append this to-do, this new to-do to it. Yeah. And now typically the way you do that typically is to do let's try and do this the states the to-dos the push new to-do. When I do that and I click add new to-do, so let me try and log console.log this is the states the to-do. Now, typically, I don't think we have to even give an error at this point. Like, it won't tell you because you're just pushing to the object. Yeah, it will show you this. Yeah, but the typical way to do stuff in React is you try your best not to mutate objects. Yeah, React. If you check when you read the React documentation and you spend some time writing React, you will notice that React at its core is immutable. So try not to mutate objects directly. Yeah, if you want to change state or change something in state, create a new variable. Or aside from creating a new variable, instead of creating this new to do this variable here, I could have easily done. So this won't give you an error, but it's still not best practice to mutate objects. So instead of creating a new variable, if you feel like every time I want to update state, I have to create a new variable, you can just carry this piece of code here and put it here. It achieves the same thing at the end of the day. The state is going to be updated because this returns a new array. And basically, we're just saying to-dos should be equals to that new array. But for the sake of being explicit, we're going to do this. Yeah. All right. So we concat new to-do. So we add new to-do to this previous state of to-dos, which is an array. Store the result in new to-do list. Then we set it here, and then create our text. Yeah. All right. So now we can create. Yeah. But we can't read. We can't see what we've created. Yeah. Now to actually see what we've created, we need to loop through the to-dos list. We need to go through the to-dos list and show something to our users. Yeah. Now to do that, below we come, and like I already said, remember in JSX when you want to perform JavaScript operations, you use. Sorry, hello. Sorry, what? Hello. All right. I don't think I can hear what a person is trying to. All right. So basically, now for us to use JavaScript in real life, how do we spot the type of control and input is? I mean, for instance, so how do we know it's a controlled or uncontrolled input? Now to do this, how do we know if it is a controlled or uncontrolled input? In what instance would you want to know if it is a controlled or uncontrolled input? Like, do you mean if you go to someone's website and you want to see if it is controlled or not? I don't know why you would want to know that. Typically, there's no way to know that because if we view this, inspect element, we can't see any unchanged whatever. But if you have React DevTools installed, which I do, I think React DevTools shows you that. So React DevTools, and I come to inputs. Even then, so I don't think it doesn't even show you. So in real life, I don't see why you would want to know why an input is a controlled input. Yeah, typically it's easy to guess. If the website you go to is you see this React, if you have React DevTools installed, React DevTools usually shows you when the website was built to React. Yeah, and you go to a React website and you see an input form or an input element, you can definitely for sure know that it is controlled. You know that whatever I type here is being captured by React, and then they're probably using it. Yeah, not using for anything malicious, but the same one we're using it here, you definitely know that okay, that processing it will React. Yeah, but I can't think of any use case where, like, I don't see why you want to know that. Like, yeah, but either way, there's no for sure way unless you know that you're using React on the website, then you can definitely tell that okay, they're using like this input form is being controlled by React. I hope that answers your question. If it wasn't clear, I can ask again or something. All right, so where are we? All right, so yeah, now we need to be able to look through our to-dos array. So now to do that, like I already said in JSX, when you want to use JavaScript expressions, you use a curly brace, and we say basically this the state the to-dos the map, like I already said, so map. So what we want to do is for each to-do in our list, we want to for each to-do in our list, we want to return JSX. Yeah, we want to return a JSX block. Sorry, hello? Can you guys hear me? Because one person can't hear me. So if you can hear me, just type yes. Let's see, yeah. All right. So 1 person, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right. So maybe it might be your this person's name. Since you can't hear me, so I don't let me just say. All right. So I think I can be on network. Okay. All right. So now we want to map through our to-dos array and return a block of JSX. Yeah. So I was saying this is the state of to-dos map. Yeah. And I was saying to do, and then we want to get the index because I've already said when you're returning an array or when you're looping through an array and you're returning a set of items back, each item needs to have an ID or a key. Each item needs to have a key. Yeah. So what we're returning here is let's say a p tag. Let's just put a p tag. Yeah, we're returning a p tag, and that p tag. So let's return here. So return, yeah, p, and then p tag must have a key. There's a key. Yeah. So the key is going to be index rather. Yeah, and then we want to show what is actually inside the to do. So we say to do dot name. Yeah, because each to do here has an ID and a name, and we want to render to do the name. Yeah. Now because we know that each to do has a unique ID, we can use it to ID as a key here, or we can use the index in the array. Either one of them works. Yeah, but let's just stick to using the index because that's like the common way of doing stuff. Because you can't always guarantee that whatever you're looking through will have an ID, but you can always guarantee that each item in an array has a unique index. So it's usually best to just use the index. So we save, and then come and type hello. As we see hello, we type welcome. See welcome. Yeah. Type by. You see by. Type working. I'll say working. Yeah. Now there are ways this can be made better. Yeah. Now, two ways I can think of making this better is when I come and I don't have any to do, I should see you have no to dos. Yeah, I should see that okay, I don't have any to dos, and then I will know that okay, I have to add to dos. That's one improvement I can make. The second improvement I can make is I can number my to dos. Yeah. Now for me to do that, I can do something like now for us to number it, you can use HTML list, the HTML list, which is you can use a OL, an ordered list, and then each thing we're returning here is going to be an li. So let's try something. Let me show you how that looks like. So we have an ordered list, OL, the regular HTML ordered list, and then we just put this loop over here. Yeah, and then instead of returning a p tag, we return. In case one index gets deleted, then would there be a problem in the key? In essence, when we use UID as a key, when the index gets deleted, the item gets deleted too. And basically, now for when you delete, it means that you're updating your state. Yeah. Now, when you update your state, you have to re-render the components, and then there will be no problem. So this person asks what happens when an index gets deleted. The only time an index gets deleted, it means you're deleting the elements as at that index. So if you're removing element 2, you have to update the states to do that. And when we update the states, we render the components. When we render the components and we look through this again, that component is no longer there, so there's not going to be any problem. Yeah. All right. So instead of returning the p tag, we want it to be numbered, so we use li. Yeah. Alright, so VS Code just updated that to li, and save, and come here, and we see learn React. All right, use React. Yeah, teach React. Yeah, learn JavaScript. So now it's actually numbered. Yeah. Now another improvement we can make is we want to sort our to-dos from newest to oldest, but that one it might not be important. But now we sort it from the first one to the last one, so newest to oldest. Yeah. But the other way is we can sort it any way we want to sort it, but we won't cover that now. All right. So an update we can make here now is when there are no to-dos, we can render please, we can say there are no to-dos. Yeah. Now to do that, I can come here and say we're going to use JSX. So now I don't know if you've done ternary. So ternary is an operator in JavaScript for doing typically you do your if. So let me show you an example. Yeah. So let's say we have normally you have your if in JavaScript. You're saying if something is true, do the following. So let's say if let me say const learning react is equals to true. Yeah. So we can do something like if learning react is equals to true, console the log I am learning react else console the log I have not started learning. Yeah. So typically in JavaScript we're used to doing this normal if. So now when we run this to say I am learning React, because then React is equals to true. Yeah. Now this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Now we can shorten this to one line with ternary. Yeah. So ternary is spelled as T-E-N-E-R-Y. You can Google ternary in JavaScript. It's not just specific to JavaScript. It's a programming construct, just like how you have if statements, you have else, you have switch case or whatever. Yeah. Now the way ternary looks like, a ternary looks like what you want to evaluate, which is in this case, learning React is equals to true. Yeah. So we can put this here. Yeah. It's a question mark. Yeah. And then we can say, so this question mark basically means if this is true, what do you want it to say? So we want it to say, I am learning React. Else, so this is the else part. Else, I have not started learning. Yeah. And when we run that, we get I am learning React. Yeah. So basically, what this has reduced our code of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to a line. Yeah. So I didn't even log that, but about my dev tools just log that from the console.log. All right. Yeah. So same thing as before. Now this is shorter. Yeah. And I use this a lot in my code. It's actually quite helpful instead of doing if and making your code way longer. Yeah. So basically, we're saying learning React is equals to true. If this is true, carry out this part of my code. Now, if it's not, do the following. Yeah. Now in React within your JSX code, when you want to do conditional statements, you use that. You use ternary operators. Yeah. So now we want to do something like if there's nothing in our to-dos, show blah blah blah. Now, if there is, show the following. Yeah. So now in order to do that, we check how many items are in our array. Now arrays have a length property. Yeah. Now the length property tells you how many items are in the array. So if for example, I have all right. If for example I have an array of 1, 2, 3. Let me see const numbers. Yeah. If I do numbers length, I will get 3. Yeah. If I have an array of numbers 2, let me just call numbers 2, and I have 1 and 2, or let me just say 1, 10, hello, 10, 20. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 elements, and I do numbers 2 plus length. I will get 5 because I have 5 elements inside. So each array has a dot length property that tells you how many items are inside. Yeah. So we come here and we say this dot states dot to dos dot length is equals to 0, meaning that if there are no items in our to dos, we want to render a p tag that says please add to dos. Else, if there's actually something there, yeah, we want to show the following JSX block, which is our OL, which has our list. We actually want to render our list. Yeah. So we now nest that inside here and we save. So now this looks more complex. Yeah. Well, if you actually look at the code and actually try to read it, you see that it's nothing new. The only thing new here is the ternary. Yeah. So what we're saying is if this dot state dot to this dot length is equals to 0, Means if we don't have any to-dos in our array, if we don't have anything in an array, show, please add some to-dos. Else, if we actually have something to show an ordered list, yeah, and within that ordered list, look through our to-dos and return the following JSX. Return a list item, and the key of that list item is the index of the item in the array and the name of the item. So we save, and we come and we say, please add some to-dos. Yeah, I can add an emoji. Let me say a frowning emoji. So just play around with that type of thing. If you want to show your users that you are unhappy with them not having to-dos. So I'm saying please add some to-dos. So I'm seeing my brother tell me I need to something about emojis. So please add the new to-do. So once I add the new to-do here, that disappears. Now the reason why it disappears is because once I add something new here, this .state.todos.length becomes 1. It doesn't remain 0. And now here we're evaluating that if this thing is 0, show this, but because it's no longer 0, we have something inside the array now. It's now 1. It won't show this anymore. Yeah. So we can add learning React, add new to do, create a new item. When we reload, our state gets reset, and we say please add some to dos. Yeah. So immediately this lets your users know that okay, I need to do 0. I don't have anything to say here. So now we actually need to. So now we can create by saying hello, typing this. We can create. We can read whatever. So we can see this. Yeah. Now we can actually. We need to be able to delete. Yeah. Delete. Within each. Let me show you something now. So let's add welcome. Yeah. Now what we want to happen is we want each to have a button beside it. Yeah. So welcome will have a button and a button here that says delete me. Yeah. Now when we click that delete me button, it should delete welcome. It should delete hello. It should delete whatever button we click. It should delete the elements that it belongs to. Yeah. So now let's render an actual button. So remember in JSX when you're returning multiple elements, you need the parent element. So returning, you have a parent element, a div, yeah, and then we have our li, and then let's have a button that says delete me, or let's just say delete, yeah. And now when we come, obviously we don't have any to dos, so we're not going to see the button yet. So we need to add a to do. So the to do is going to be testing. All right. So here I see an error. Each child in the list should have a unique key property. Now, because this div, which is the parent element, doesn't have that key property, so we move this key here to the parent element. Yeah. So we save, and we say welcome, and we see the button. Yeah. Now, obviously, this isn't rendered nice. I wish to style it with CSS, but yeah. For now, let's just stick to this. We say welcome. We say hello. Yeah. All right. So what we want is when we click delete, this should go. When we click hello, this should go. Yeah. Now we need to add an event handler to that. Yeah. So we say on click rather, call this dot delete. This dot delete to do. All right. So we create our delete method, our delete to do method, which is so what we've been doing already. Delete to do, and we bind it to our class. Yeah. Sorry. So your bind this. Yeah. Now, when I click this button here for welcome, yeah, I need it to remove specifically welcome, not hello. Yeah. Now we need to let this delete to do method know the ID of what we want to delete. Yeah. And like I already said, event handlers, they receive the event, just the event. Yeah. What we want here is we want to receive the ID of the to do that we want to delete. Yeah. Now, in order for us to be able to do that, inside this onClick, yeah, we're going to create our own handler inside here. yeah, so that we can pass the ID of delete to do. So basically, delete to do, we want to call delete to do like this: delete to do with to do the ID. Yeah. Now, in order for us to be able to do this, yeah, by default, this won't work because we're calling the function here. We're not returning an event handler. We need an event handler to be here. So to do that here, we'll create an inline event handler. Yeah. So to create the inline event handler, we'll just use an arrow function. Yeah. All right. So we got one. Yeah. And then we're just saying delete to do. We'll receive the ID of the to do we want to delete. Yeah. So what did we do here? Basically, we created an event handler. What that event handler just does is that it calls this.delete to do with the ID of the to do we want to delete. Yeah. Now the reason why we have to do it this way is because when we put this.delete to do, the event handler will get called with events. The events are just so called, but we don't want that. What we want is to get it to do, the ID of this to do, of the to do that the click happened on. So we create an inline event handler. This event handler is no different from the event handler that we created here. The only difference is that we're creating it here inline. We're not creating it in the class. The reason why we have to create it inline is so we can have access to that to do here. So we can say to do the ID. Now to do the ID will refer to that particular to do. Yeah, I don't know if that was clear. Yeah. So expatiate on that. Let's just say let's pass in to do the whole to do and let's log it. So let's do console.log. Let me change this to do. Console.log to do. Yeah. So basically, when we click on this button, yeah, this is our event handler. My VS Code removes brackets around arrow function. I'm already used to that. But typically, this is how your arrow function will look like. It takes in an argument, which is the event, because it's an event handler, and then it just calls this.delete to do with the to do. Yeah. So we save, and then let's log. Let's type hello. Yeah. Add new to do. Yeah. Welcome. Add new to do. When I click delete, I see, because we're logging in here, we're logging the to do that delete was clicked on. When I click delete on hello, I see hello. When I click delete on welcome, I see welcome. Yeah, when I click, let me create a new element called bye. And when I click delete on bye, I'll see bye over here. Yeah. So basically what we're doing is we're just creating an inline event handler, and within that event handler, we're just calling this.delete to do. Yeah. So now we have
Hello,
to
sir.
proceed. We want to delete. Yeah. Hello.
Okay. My question is particularly about, maybe you should please scroll up to where you just did that inline stuff now.
Yeah.
Yes, that's online 56. Okay, now, fine. What you did now, clicking the particular button will refer to that particular event, like, sorry, the
Yeah.
particular ID, no doubt. Well,
Yeah.
where my question lies here is this. From what I been doing before, whenever we put that curly braces after the delete to do, it's more or less like running the function instantly whenever it gets loaded. So usually we always do it as this dot delete to do, so that it will just be a reference to whenever the button is being clicked. But I'm just surprised now that you use the curly braces even with that to do. It's not
Yeah. No
put it
calling
as
immediately.
it's
Yeah.
not it's more like doing it as a reference. So I'm confused. Why
Yeah.
then the reference before we always load and this one did not load instantly? I don't know if you get me,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, I understand you. I understand you. So like, yeah,
Thanks.
when I was learning React, I got told that too, that the reason why you don't put that there is because it's recorded instantly. Now you know this line here, yeah, this here, we're defining the function. Yeah, this thing here is no different from doing const inline function is equals to events equals to this. dot delete to do. Yeah, basically this thing here, we're just defining a function. Yeah. Now when you define a function and you put it on click, it doesn't get called immediately. It only gets called when the event actually occurs. That's why it's called an event handler. Yeah. So basically we're just defining a function here. This is just a function definition of an inline function. The same way you say when you define a function like this. Yeah, let me say function test. When you define a function like this, it's not called immediately. It will only be called when you do test. Yeah, which is the same thing that calls here. Here, right here. Sorry, here. We're just defining this function. We're defining an inline function. It doesn't have a name. It's an arrow function. We're just defining a function over here, and this function will get called when the event occurs. The same way our event handlers will get called. The same way this will add me to do. Yeah, will get called when an event occurs. The same way on click gets called. This event handler here will get called when the event occurs. And so here we're not calling the function, we're just defining it. We're defining a function that when it gets called, it will call this or delete to do. Yeah. Now the problem, I'm guessing why the reason why you were doing what you were doing before was people tried to do something like this. This is the delete to do. Yeah, and you were told immediately you load this. Now if we save and we come and we do
It should load
sorry,
instantly.
let me yes, load instantly because you're calling it. We're calling it directly here. This dot delete to do is being called directly. But here, what we're doing here is we're defining a function. And until this function here is called, that's when we now do this inside the body. It's just like doing function inline. Yeah. This dot delete to do won't get called immediately. It only gets called when we do inline. Yeah. So when the outside function gets called, the function within now gets called. So when we call inline, that's until when this gets called. Yeah, which is
Okay,
basically
the main problem I had now, fine, I
yeah,
just understood what you're saying because normally best practices of JavaScript, it's always best not to use anonymous function. You are supposed to use
yeah,
a named function. So that was what I was
yeah,
looking at. But when you now brought it out
yeah,
and gave it a const name, that was when I understood.
yeah.
Because your
Okay.
line 54 is more or less like an anonymous function, which we're
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
use a named function. So that was where I was having the confusion. But since you explained that it's still works like using a named function, now I get. That's why I had to
yeah.
ask.
All right, all right. So basically, like
Thank you
if
very
this
much. I appreciate
particular
it.
yeah, yeah, no problem. This particular line of code is you see it in most React code, yeah. So you just create an inline handler so you can call a particular function within there, yeah. So I saying this dot delete to do with the to do. So we save and then we come and we say hello, add new to do. When we click delete, we see am I logging that out? Sorry, sorry, let me log. I'm not logging out. So you can say the log to do save and I type hello I need to do and I click delete. So we see the to do. We type something else, or let's say new to do, and click delete. We see our new to do over here. Yeah. All right. So that means we have access to the to do we want to delete. Yeah. But instead of passing the whole to do object, let's just pass the ID because it's the ID we care about. Yeah. So let's say here to do the ID. So we're passing to do the ID, which is the ID of the to do, to delete to do. Yeah, and here's going to be ID. Yeah. So now we have the ID of the to do we want to delete. Yeah. Now how do we actually delete it? There are different ways for you to delete, remove an item from an array. Yeah. You can do slice or splice. Yeah. Me, I rather just use filter. Yeah. So what I do is I look through the array and I return all the items that are not equal to that item. Yeah. And by the time I'm done looping, I have an array without that item. So if, for example, you have an array that has A, B, C, I will filter through the array and say return all the elements that are not C. By the time I'm done, I have A and B. Why do we need the arrow function for the delete function? Okay. So we need the arrow function for the delete function because we want to get access to do the ID. Yeah, we can't pass a typical event handler. When we pass the event handler, we have access only the events. Yeah. So let's pass this to delete this delete to do. Let me log the ID. What is being passed here is the event. Yeah. But we want to have access to the ID. Yeah. So we need a function. Yeah. And now typically the way arrow functions work is that arrow functions inherit in this context as opposed to regular functions. Yeah, it still goes back to this conversation. So let me just show you a quick reason why you typically want to use arrow functions over regular functions. Yeah. So I have a function called regular. Yeah. So this is a regular function, and let me do console.log this. Yeah. And I have another function called const arrow. Now this arrow is equal to an arrow function that logs console.log this. Yeah. So now when we call regular, and we call regular, we see window, we call arrow, we see window. Cool. Yeah, this is what you expect because this refers to the window. There's no by default this refers to the window in JavaScript for web. Yeah, in Node it refers to global. Yeah. So now let me show you something. So we have regular, we have arrow. Now let's create an object. Say object let's say test, an object called test. Now this test object has regular, and the regular property is set to the regular function, which refers to this function over here. And then we have arrow, which refers to our arrow function here. Yeah. Now when we call test or regular, what would you typically expect to see? Test or regular is basically calling this regular method. Yeah. It's calling this regular function. You expect it to equals undefined, just like before. But when we call it, we see something. It shows us this object here. Yeah. Now this here refers to test. So regular here is showing you what test is. Yeah. Now if we call test.arrow, test.arrow still shows you the window. Yeah. So test.arrow inherits by default. It will refer to the surrounding context around it, and the context around arrow is the window context. Yeah. Now for test.regular, because it's a regular function, this refers to the object that was called on. So regular was called on test. Yeah. So arrow functions and regular functions, they behave differently. Yeah, depending on how you call them. So typically when you're doing something like this here, you use an arrow function to be on the safe side, so you don't change what this refers to. Here in this instance, this here, like I already said, this inherits the this context here. So within our render method, the render method knows that this refers to the class. Now when we use an arrow function, this refers to the class, it just inherits it. So to check, okay, what does render know as this? Render knows this to refer to the component, and within that arrow function, this will be the component, as opposed to using a normal function and we don't know how it's going to be called. So to be on the safe side, for instances like this, we just use an arrow function. Yeah. So learning the difference between arrow functions and regular functions and how they are called is something worth investing in. So when you learn that, it's to save you confusion and it's to make your development experience way easier. Up until like for a while, I was having issues with that, but once I learned it, it became easier. Like I started knowing like instances where I would need a regular function and instances where I would need an arrow function. Yeah. So you can try this experiment out on your own if you want to see like instances where they are different. Yeah, they both do the same thing. They both log out this, but it depends on how they are called. The first time both of them are called, they show window. When you call them on an object, test will show the object is being called on. Arrow will still show window. Yeah. Okay. So we have our button, and then we have an event handler, which is an arrow function that calls this delete to do with the ID to do the ID. Yeah. Now what we want to do inside our delete to do method is we want to filter out the to do that has this ID. Yeah. So basically, like I already said, if you have an array that has ABC, the way to use filter to update the array is to say, give me all the elements that are not C. And by the time we're done, we have an array of A and B. Yeah. So something like we're going to have const updated array, and updated to do is going to be equals to this. Now, if you've done filter returns a new array. It doesn't mutate the original array. It returns a new array. So the old array still remains the same, but we have a new array, which is what we care about. So I was saying this dot states dot to dos, yeah, the filter, yeah. So filter, we're going to loop through all the to dos is equals to do. So I can use an arrow function here. I'll show you how the arrow function version looks like and how the regular function version looks like. So we have to do, yeah, which is each to do. We're looking through each to do. So I'm saying return where to do the ID is not equals to our to do. Yeah, this is one version of doing that. This is a one-line version of doing that. I like one-line version, but this might not be clear. So we can use a regular function. I say function, yeah, to do, yeah, and we want to return all the to dos where to do the ID, that is the ID of the to do, is not equals to. So this is where my text editor puts equals to, but this is normal exclamation mark, then double equals to. Is not equals to the ID. Yeah. So what are we doing here? What we're doing here is we're saying give me all the to-dos where the ID of the to-do is not equals to this ID. And since we already know that IDs are unique, there's only going to be one to-do where the ID is equals to this ID that's passed in here. Yeah. So let me show you how this looks like. So let's say we have, sorry, let me clear my console. All right, so let's say we have an array of fruits. Let me see, that's mango. Can't imagine, I can't remember fruits. Banana. Okay, sorry. Coconuts. All right. So we have an array of fruits. Now I want to return a new array of fruits that does not have mango. Yeah. So we'll just do something like const new fruits is equals to fruits, the filter, the function. Now this function will get called with all of our fruits. Yeah. And we now want to return where the fruits is not equals to mango. So the first time this array will run is to check mango is equals to mango. Yeah, so it doesn't return mango. The second time, banana is not equals to mango, so it will return banana. Coconut is not equals to mango, so it will return coconut. Yeah. Now when we console the log new fruits, we can see an array that has banana and coconut. Yeah, so basically we're removing mango because mango is equals to this. So I'm saying return all the fruits that are not equals to this, which is basically what we want to do here. Return all the to-dos that have an ID that is not equals to this ID here. Yeah. So we have our updated to do. And when we do that, we now say this set states into to-dos is equals to updated to do. Yeah. So we save. And then sorry, let me. All right, so we say hello, admin to do, welcome, admin to do, chief. So when we delete to do, that gets deleted. Because basically what that does is that when you click delete to do, it loops through the arrays of to dos. Now you to check, is the ID of this to do equals to the ID I was given? Yeah, if it is equals to it, then don't return it. We don't care about it. But if it's not, okay, we care about it. These are the to dos we actually care about. So to return that to do. Yeah. So I can add as many as I want. Yeah. And I can delete hello, delete welcome, delete this. And then when I clear back, I see please add some to dos because this does state dot to dos has become 0. because by the time we filter out the last element, there's nothing left there. I remember over here we're checking if this dot state dot to this dot length is equal to 0, show this text, else. Yeah. So one more time. Welcome. Sorry. 2 9 to do list. Yeah, and then we can delete it in any order we want. Welcome, delete. Yeah. Can we use splice and index of to remove from the to-do list? Yes, you can use splice and index of, but the problem with them is that they're not as declarative as using filter. Yeah, you can use splice. Honestly, I rather not use splice because I can't even remember the splice syntax off head. You can use index of. Yeah, you can do something like for us to use index of, we have to pass index here, and we can check if the index of this is equal to this, remove that. Yeah. Now I rather use this because this is more functional. This is like, there's a paradigm of programming called functional programming. Yeah, and then it's filter, map, reduce, they lean towards functional programming. Yeah, and React at its core, functional programming has more to do with immutability. And React at its core is sort of, like I already said, it favors immutability. So using stuff like filter is like, it leans towards functional programming. So it's neater. And then, like I already said, I can reduce this. Another way of, yeah, you can. Another way of doing this with updated to do. So let's say the typical ways you can. So the thing is, you can always remove this to do any way you know how to remove an item from a to do. You can do that as far as it does not mutate the original to do item, to do objects, to do array. You can use that. Yeah, any method you're comfortable with as far as it does not mutate. Yeah. So you can come here, this dot state dot to do dot filter. This is the using an inline function to show you the one line method of doing this. So basically, I'm using an arrow function. So to do is equals to. So basically, I'll just return in all the to do's. Here to do the ID is not equals to ID. Now we'll shorten 3 lines into 1 line, and then it works just like the previous one. Yeah, that's like using arrow functions. Yeah. So basically, what we're just saying is to do, and because there's no curly brackets, I'll just return in. So basically, in an arrow function, when you have it like this with just 1 line, you're basically returning. So it's the same return statement. Or arrow function, we don't need that return here. We're just saying return to do the ID is equals, where to do the ID is not equals to ID. Yeah. So it depends on which method you find better. Some people prefer to be more explicit about it. Like, I mean, it's nice to be explicit, but over time, the more you write like code, JavaScript code, you find that there are some things that other people that write JavaScript code, you sort of understand. So and it's better to be concise, but also being clear in your code. So yeah. Right. So this returns a new array called updated to do, and then we set our to do's to be updated to do. Yeah. All right. So now at its core, we've implemented create, we've implemented read, we've implemented delete. So yeah, that's CRD, which is what we set out to do today. So I'll go through it again. Yeah. So we created a to do component. Yeah. Now within that to do component, we want to be able to create to dos and delete to dos. Now that means we need to be able to impute to dos and store the to dos we impute. Yeah. And like I already said, each to do has an ID and it has a name. Yeah. So the first thing we did was we created a to do object in our state. Yeah. And then in our render method, we just rendered my to do list. And then we have an input element. That input element allows us to input text. And then basically, as we change that text, yeah, we update the to do text which is stored in our state. Yeah. So basically what we did here was the name is to do text, the value is set to our to do text, so we can clear it. The placeholder says enter a new to do, and every time it changes, we call update to do text. Yeah. Now inside update to do text, basically what we're doing is we're setting the states. We're saying to do text is equals to events dot target dot value. Like we already saw before, each event has a target because an event occurs on an object. Yeah. And they were saying event dot target dot value. So the value of this when we type this value, yeah. So we're getting that value here, and we're setting our to do text to that value. Yeah. So at this point over here, we can capture the user's input. Yeah. But what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to actually add that to do that input to our to-do list. Yeah. So we create a button. Yeah. And we say every time that button is clicked, add a new to do. Now the handler for this add new to do, basically what we do here is we create an object called new to do. Yeah. And then we have an ID, and we're using a package called UUID. Now UUID just creates unique strings for you, unique IDs for you. Yeah. And we already want each to do to have a unique ID. So we create a new unique ID, and then the name is going to be set to this dot state dot to do text, which is what we type in our input form. Yeah. So at this point, we have that new to do with an ID and the name of what we just typed, and the text we just typed rather. So we need to actually add that to our to do list. Yeah. Now, like I already said, in React, it is best not to mutate your state. And by mutate, you don't update it directly. What you do is you tell React, this is what I want to update, and React handles that update for you. Yeah. Now, the normal way of updating an array is of adding new items to an array is to do this, do array or push, and then you put in whatever you want to push. So it should just be the new thing to push. Yeah. All right. I'll share the link to the code after the class. Okay. All right. So I already said we don't want to. All right. So give me a sec. All right. So, like I already said in React, we don't update the state directly. We tell React this is what we want our state to be, basically declaring what we want, and then React makes sure, like React will ensure that our state is equal to that. Yeah. So what we do here, instead of updating directly, we use a method called concat. Yeah. Now concat says we combines two or more arrays. Yeah. Basically, just allowing you to say this is my array. I want to add this to it. Yeah. So I'm saying this dot state dot to do dot concat new to do. So we're adding this new to do to the array to the to do's array, and then have a new to do list. Yeah. And then basically what we do then is we set our to do's, yeah, to the new to do list. Yeah, and we set our to do text to be that. Yeah. Hello. What's the difference between concat and push in array? All right. So the difference between concat and push is that push will mutate the original array. Concat will create a new array. So let us illustrate that. Let us have an array of students. Yeah. So con students is equals to Mayowa and Chukwu. Yeah. So we have an array of two students. Yeah. Now let's say we do something like students dot concat. So the yeah. When we console the log students, yeah, we still see Mayowa and Chukwudi. Yeah. because the array students array still just contains Maiwa and Chudi. But when we run this command, it returns a new array. Yeah, but if we do students dot push Sodiq and we do students, we see Maiwa, Chukudi, and Sodiq. Yeah, so push will add the item to that array, while concat will add the item to the array and return a new array. Yeah, so it does not mutate the original array. By the time you're done with concat, your array still remains the same, but you have a new array that contains the updates. But we push, you're actually updating the array directly. Yeah, so push updates the array. All right. Okay. Is there a setback of using push? There's no setback of using push. It depends. So for, like I already said, in React, you don't mutate your states directly. Yeah. So what that means is that you don't update your states directly. You tell React what to do. Yeah. So you give React the updates you want, and then React to do that update for you. Yeah. Now, we push, when you do push, like I already saw, when we did students don't push Sodiq, we updated it directly. Yeah, but when we did concat, we returned a new array. So after that operation, concat leaves your array as it was. It leaves your array as the method. It doesn't change anything inside. But push will actually update it directly. And like I already said, updating your state directly is not what we should do in React. It's not the conventional way of updating stuff. Yeah. So there's no typical downside of it. It depends on the instance you're using it. In your typical code, if you have an array and you want to add new stuff to it, you use push. No need to do concat. Yeah. But in the context of React, you would use concat because that is you use concat, then you add it to it, or any other way that does not mutate the array, as far as you're not mutating the states directly. Yeah. So yeah, we do concat. So we add a new to do and then we return a new to-do list. Yeah, and then we set our to-dos to be that new to-do list, and then we clear our to-do text, which is what we type here. So each time we type this add new to-do, we remove the text. Yeah. All right, so that's add new to-do. And then, like we already said, we want to be able to, let's say there's nothing, we don't have any to-dos, we want to show some information to the user. Yeah, so what we just do is we check the length of the array by checking the dot length property, and if the length is equal to 0, that's if there's nothing, yeah, return please add some to-dos. Yeah, else if we actually have something, that is if it is not equal to 0, we say we look through the to-dos. Yeah, that is also the to-dos dot map. Yeah, and then we return the following. Yeah, and here we have a div, and the key of the div is set to the index because parent elements need to have, each element in a loop or when you're iterating through an array needs to have a unique key. And then we have a list item, so we can have it numbered like this, li, and then we say to-do.name, which is the name of the to-do that we just typed in. And then we want to be able to delete to-dos, so we have a button. Yeah, and that button, we have an event handler for that button. Basically, we're saying each time this button is clicked, yeah, this is a function basically. This is an arrow function, which is an anonymous function. It's just a short function. Yeah, and we're saying each time this is clicked, this on click is clicked, call this dot delete to do with the ID of that. Yeah. So when we come up here, so yeah, the first time we run here, the first time this will loop, to do the ID will refer to the first item to do. The second time it refers to the second item's ID. Yeah. So we say this dot delete to do the ID. We're calling this method here with the ID of the to do. When we come here, we're filtering. So basically, we're going to filter. Yeah. So basically, what filter does is that it will loop through your array and it will return all the items that match the condition. Yeah. So we're saying give me all the items where the to do the ID is not equals to this ID. That is the ID we got. So for say if the ID is Chudi, yeah, we're saying give me all the to-dos where the ID is not Chudi, is not equals to Chudi. So by the time we're done with this loop, we have a new array that does not have trudy. And we're just setting our to-dos to updated to do. So we save, and then we come, let's reload. For some reason, this thing actually had to reload that. So we say hello, yeah, and then we add the new to do. We say welcome, add the new to do, sorry, and then we can delete it, and then we say please add some to do text. Yeah. All right. So I'll give you the little time we have for questions. If you have any questions. What if you want to push on top of the to-do list? So you want the item to be at the top of the to-do list. All right. Sorry. So typically, the best way to do that is I'll use a filter, or okay. Let me see. So typically, once we have our updated to do, yeah, we can do something like const reverse to do. Okay, is equals to it's funny, do you know, actually I can't even I can't think of a way to do that right now. But typically you would use what do you call this? You would use a sort. So something like const new to do or reverse to do equals to updated to do your sort a comma b. All right, so this is just a really makeshift way of doing this because I can't think of a fast way to do this right now. By the end of the day, we should still have our business map spread to do. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Then over here we come and say submap where b is greater than a. Okay. So about all right. So equals to map equals to b minus a. All right. All right. So this is a very contrived example. All right. So let me just try that quickly. Sorry. Sorry, either index. All right. Sure. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0 here refers to SS. Yes, alright, so I'll try B minus A. Okay. Alright. So new to do or first. Second. Okay. Well, so actually I don't know how to do that right now because we're flustered. But I will do an update when I push the code. I'll actually push an update to adding to the top of the list. The normal way to add to the top of the list is to actually
Hello.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been actually been able to add to the top of the list.
Okay, by doing the sort, Abby.
Yeah, so the A and B you have to do if A
Yeah,
dot
then
ID is greater than B dot ID, then you return -1, else you return 1. So it's actually adding it to the top of the array. So I send the function to the.
nah, but like the ID is not a bar. The ID is a string.
Okay, what I'm actually using to generate my own ID, I'm using the what's it
Numbers.
called?
Yeah. The
The
index.
length of the length of the what's it called? The length of the array. Like when I declare the ID, I use this dot
Yeah.
stage dot
The length.
to
Yeah,
do
exactly.
+1. So I'm actually just getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But typically your IDs are going to be strings. Yeah. You can't guarantee that your IDs will be numbers, which is why I created an array that had um the to-dos index. Yeah. So I basically just looked through the array, got an array with the index, and then I was subtracting based on that index. Yeah. So if I do a.id is greater than this, I'm comparing strings. Yeah, using UUID, there's no direct way to subtract that unless I can guarantee that my IDs are going to be numbers. Yeah. So this works if my IDs were arranged in 0, 1, 2, or if my IDs were arranged incrementally, then this would work. But yeah, that's a nice solution. So how did you type not equals to sign? I mean alternative for not. Sorry, Somoya Ayotune, can you go on that question?
I mean, your line 34.
Yeah. Why did I
Line
type?
34. Like, no. I said, how did you type it? Like, the shortcut, or what exactly did you use? What is between the to do ID and ID?
Oh, that's my font. That's the font I use for my VS Code. That's why it's like that.
Okay, because I was just looking, saying that how did
Yeah,
this
now
uh
it's the same thing
type
as
it?
when I type this exclamation and I type an equals to, it transforms to this. And when I add one
Okay,
more, it transforms to 3 bars. So I will
okay,
push
okay.
when I push this code to the repo, which should be in like 30 minutes or an hour. I will push the update for adding to the list with the ID as strings. Yeah. So using your solution, Sadiq, let me show you. Let me try and run that here. So I'll show you what I mean. So reverse to do list is new to do list, which is our updated to do. The sorts function a comma b where a comma b is greater than b dot id. All right. So I have yeah. It still doesn't change anything because it is not, you're comparing strings. First, second, and third. When I delete first, the third actually, oh wow, it stands to be corrected. All right, so that actually works because you're comparing the strings. So when I delete the second, first, third, fourth, and fifth, yeah. So I delete fifth. When I delete fourth, second should come up. Okay, so that two doesn't reverse it. That two doesn't reverse it. What do you mean when you add it or when you delete it, Sodiq? Like, should the reversing occur when you add or when you delete? Okay. All right. My bad. So let me bring that here. All right. So data to do. So I come to admin to do list. All right. Okay. All right. So this works. No. Does it? Fifth should come up. Okay, no, so it's not. It's not even fifth should meant to be the first. So like it's still just at some point it defaults back to the first, second. So the first two times, the yeah. Now the way I think a simpler way of doing that is we can create a new array on to-dos with index that has we just map to the other array. So you need to-do list, the map. So we can get the index of each one. To do on my index. And basically we just return a new object that spreads everything we need to do. I have the index, and when I say to do's with index, if a dot b dot index. Alright, first. Third, fourth, fifth, second, sixth. Yeah? So does this answer your question? Like, so using the function you sent me or the block of code you sent me, yeah, if we can compare based on the index, you can actually sort them. So the newest one comes on top, yeah, and 7, yeah. Now the reason why comparing the IDs initially won't return it is because you're comparing strings. If I do when I do UID, sorry, okay, all right. So essentially, what this does here is we're just saying from each one for each to do here, return the to do. We're just spreading the to do and then the index. So we have access to the index here. But I'm very sure there's a shorter way of doing this. I'll probably figure that out maybe after this call, and I will add that. All right. So like I already said, using class components is because you want to access the state. Yeah. And before when I started, there are two types of components. There are function-based components and then there are class-based components. Yeah. So basically, prior to React 16.8, 16.8 or 16.7, I can't remember the particular version. But prior to a particular release of React, you could just use class. The only way you could use state was to use class-based components. Yeah. So if you want to use your class-based components, and then if you don't want to use state, you want to have a simple component to use functions. Yeah. But with the start of React React 16.8, I can't remember the particular version, they provided a means in which you can use states in your function-based components. Yeah, and that concept is called hooks. Yeah, so basically React hooks allow you to use state within function-based components. Yeah, so with React hooks, you can have instead of having to use a class component every time, you can just have components in which you have states. Yeah, so I will do a quick example. It's not just so that you're not startled by what it looks like. I can say hook based hooks, but just so in order to use hooks, you import React normally, and then you import something called use states from React. Yeah, so we export default a function called hook component. Yeah, this is just so you can see what it looks like, and then we say const states. Const count. Let's just say count. Update count. This is just like our counter component is equals to use states. So we give it our default state, just like how we set counter to 0. We set our default state to be 0, so we have counter and update counter. Yeah, and then we have a button. Click me. Yeah, and then we add our normal handler. We say on click. This can you send the spread operator function? Okay, the one I just sent you, the one I just did. Shit, I think I deleted this. Okay, it's still here. Now, let me just send that piece of code to you. All right. Okay. So, also thanks for asking that question. That was a Sadiq Abi. That was a nice question. All right. So let me see. Okay. So back to the hook stuff I was saying. Yeah. So basically, now for you to use a hook, we're going to use a hook use states. Yeah, meaning that we want to use states within our function. Yeah. Now remember, in class-based components, we just use the states directly. It wasn't a stressful thing. We just did this to state inside the constructor. But functions don't have constructors. Yeah. Now for us to be able to use the states there, so use state there, we actually call a function called use states, and then the initial state is 0, which is the state of our counter, and then in order to update the counter. So this thing here is called array destructuring. Yeah, it's an ES6 format. Yeah. So the first thing you get from that array is counter, which we are taking out, which is the state, and then update counter is the function you use to update your counter. Yeah. So we say something like onClick is equals to a function which basically just calls update counter with counter plus 1. Yeah. Sorry, expression. Let me see. Click me button. Oh, okay, sorry. I meant to return a div which has this. Sorry. All right. Okay. Button on click is equals to update counter. Counter being defined. Sorry. Okay, cool. All right. So we have our const update counter, which uses states, and by default the state is set to 0, which is counter. Yeah, and then update counter is the function we're using to actually update our state. So this is like this set state. Yeah, and basically we're just saying counter plus 1. So each time we click this button, we want it to show counter plus 1, and then we're just going to render below this. We want to render I have been clicked. Times. Yeah. So we save inside our index.js. We come in, we import hooks or hook, hooks from hooks. I render hooks. Okay. We save. we come to a button. Anytime we click, sorry, the updates. Okay, my bad. All right. So we click it the first time. Let me read it. All right. So we click it the first time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So basically, what we did previously in our state component, what took us, how many lines was this? We first had to create our class. We first had to bind it. We had to create the constructor. We had to create render, and we had to do reset count. As opposed to hooks where this block of code here is a render inside the function. This is a render. So with function-based components, you just return your JSX, yeah, and then you can use states inside it, as opposed to having to create a constructor, define your states there, then the function of this your state, you have to bind it, as opposed to what we just did here. And this is all 11 lines, yeah. So this is shorter, but this you don't have to go and learn it. This is something else to learn. So I'm just, you don't really need to know this now, but this is just letting you know that this exists. There's something like this. Yeah. So when the first time you see it, you're not completely shocked. Yeah. So back to what we did for today. I need to do. Yeah. So better still, as an added feature, based on what Sadiq asked us, yeah, we can have a button for reversing our to-dos. Yeah, so we can have a button that when we click it, it just reverses our to-dos. Yeah, but I don't know. Based on what I sent to Sadiq, you should be able to implement that. Maybe that might be the assignment. So we should have a reverse button. Once I click reverse, what is at the top should go to the bottom. Yeah. So yeah. All right. So if you have any questions, please kindly ask. All right. So no questions, which isn't a good thing, meaning that so it either means everyone completely understood or I lost most people. All right. Yeah, no, so the use okay, so the thing is I didn't want to introduce this thing. So the thing is you don't need to understand it. Yeah. I've not even the thing is I've not used this whole thing here, these hooks. I've not used it in any okay, I'll come back to Toby. So I've not used hooks in any of my projects. I've not used it in any new project. It's a very new feature. If you come to the React website, so even the guys that actually make React, yeah, they don't even know what's wrong with my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is actually not working. I don't understand how I can still be on this call and my Wi-Fi doesn't work. Like, it's shocking. But anyway, the React guys, the guys that write React, because I follow some of them on Facebook, on Twitter, they don't expect you to know how to use this. Yeah, this is very, very new. Like this is like less than 4 months new. And then when I say less than 4 months, it means they announced it 4 months ago. It just got released like 3 weeks ago. So it's very new. You don't worry if you don't know it. I don't use this is like the most simple way I know how to use it. This is all I can do with it for now because it's still very new. Yeah. So you don't expect anyone to rush into it. Yeah. So you can forget about it now. The good thing is when you see it next time, you won't be shocked. Yeah, last month latest, exactly. So it's still very new. So when you see it for the first time and you try to use it, you won't be shocked like, wow, what is this? I didn't know about this. So just know there's a way for you to use states with functions, and then hooks allow you to do that. They allow you to do a lot of other things, but like at its core, they allow you to use states within your functions. Yeah. So Olari said it was overwhelming. So I understand that. So that's why I'm going to push this code. Then I will add comments to the code. Yeah. So if this will help, I can add something like this allows us create unique IDs which we will use for our to-dos. So I can see the right part of the screen. All right, so if you would like comments in the code, which you can indicate. Me personally, I don't like seeing comments in my code because it makes it look longer. I dislike long code. So by the time I add 10 comments, that's 10 extra lines. But if it helps, I'm going to add it. So if you like comments in the code, I'll add. So I will try to be as explicit as possible so it will help you. And then if you have questions, you can contact me. I don't know. But you can always, I'll try to make it as explicit as possible. Yeah, so I understand it being overwhelming. It's the same feeling I felt. But when I actually took out time just to look at it, I realized it was still just regular JavaScript. There's always a way to think about it. There's always a logical explanation as to why a button does something, as to why something does something. So once you just sit down and look at it and take out some time, you'll be able to understand it. So yeah. So yeah, hopefully when you watch the video exactly, it will make more meaning to you. All right, so I will push this tonight. What's the time? I'll push this tonight. Okay. All right. So Maiwa, I think I'm done for today.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So you've tried. This is 10:26. Even though myself, I'm at work. So I'm leaving pretty soon. So I believe you put in enough effort into explaining to them. It's important. Excuse me. Everyone else try to understand, work
Yeah,
harder to people sense exactly. And I've told them that while working on the projects to React,
yeah,
if they encounter any issues, they can always talk to you, message you on
yeah,
WhatsApp or any other
yeah.
platform.
Definitely,
Exactly. It's a continuous
definitely.
thing.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
platform
yeah.
is
I'm always open to answer questions, please. Because when I was learning, if I had someone to like let me know, okay, this is this, I would have really, really appreciated it. And besides, like today, I can also learn from you too. Like the questions so Dick asked me, I wasn't even ready for that. But like because of his input, I was able to say, okay, this is how we would do this and stuff like that. So please always ask. I'm always open to answering your questions. And yeah.
all right. Thank you very much. Yeah, so you can
All
end
right.
it in the organizer and the presenter. So just end the
Okay.
meeting.
So
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much.
when I push the code, I will send it to you. I'll send the repository to you.
Okay, all right.
All right. All right. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Yeah. It